Sport.
The 2026 Sheffield Shield Final.
Harper takes guard. Buckingham bowls straight through him. That's how you do it. Thornton charges in, bowls to Hanscom. Short, cuts, edge is gone. Carey takes the catch.
Victoria versus South Australia.
Scott is around the wicket, bowling to Harris. Full edge, caught, gone. And Marcus Harris has to depart 10 minutes before stumps.
Live from Junction Oval.
Final ball of the day. Scott around the wicket, bowling to Murphy, who's forward defending, and it trickles away onto the offside. They thought about a run. The bails are taken off by the umpire.
On your radio, ABC Sport Digital Radio.
And ABC Listen.
Welcome to the Junction Oval for the final day of the Sheffield Shield Final, the final day of the Australian cricketing summer in some senses too, and it is set up beautifully for a thrilling finish, whichever way the coin falls here. Victoria will be resuming 5 for 102. They need 94 more runs to win. There's two batters out in the middle yet to get off the mark. Night watchman Todd Murphy, and probably another night watchman in some senses as well, in Mitch Perry, who was propelled up the order having come in as a sub, and they're out there on 0. And South Australia will be fancying their chances of pulling off a remarkable victory to retain the Sheffield Shield Final they won to break a long drought last year. I'm Ned Hall. I'll be calling the action today alongside Mitch Turner. We'll have Rob Quiney, possibly Adam Crosswaite as well, if he's pulled a bouquet after winning the Victoria Premier Cricket Final yesterday. And inside along me at the moment is Brad Hodge, who, Hodgie, it's a big morning coming up, and probably a few nerves around, particularly in the Victorian dressing room.
Yeah, morning Ned, morning everyone. Huge nerves actually.
Yeah.
I've spoken to a few Victorians this morning, and you can sense it, and you can feel it, and look, it's going to be a challenge, that's for sure. They're up against it, and remarkable fight back from South Australia. More so with the bat, actually. We were talking about tactics as well, and whether the tactics that Victoria applied yesterday at this exact time with Carey and McAndrew out there in the middle. I clearly said I thought you got the tactics wrong for a long period of time. Didn't hold back, to be honest, and but that's okay. It's worked for him in the past, and then yeah, look, it didn't work yesterday, but here we are. 5 wickets for victory for the South Australian team, and 94 runs for Victoria. Look, I have a feeling it's going to come down to Fergus O'Neill, actually. He was technically very sound in the first innings. He looked comfortable. The ball is 39 overs old. And we saw once it got to sort of 60 overs, it flattened out. So for South Australia, they need to do multiple damage in the first half an hour to an hour. And if they do, then they're a long way to actually winning this game. And on the flip side of that, well, if these two tail enders can take some time out of the ball, 60 balls, like I said to Nathan McAndrew, if he can bat 100 balls, then South Australia be in a position to win it, and they have to do the same.
Interesting as well with Todd Murphy having got in as another night watchman in some senses. I mean, Mitch Perry obviously could have genuine claims to maybe batting up the list in and around that sort of Sutherland O'Neill group of players as well. But Todd Murphy, his role will just be to go out there basically and stay there for as long as possible, wear out the South Australians, get a bit more wear onto the ball as well, and just see if he can survive out there for as long as possible.
Yeah, 100%, absolutely. Look, the South Australian bowling team looked physically, they were nearly gone at the end of play. And they got a little bit of momentum when Pete Hanscom disappeared, and why wouldn't you? That's a big wicket. And then they sensed that there was an opportunity, and all of a sudden they picked up the wicket of Marcus Harris. So you can see that physically they're sort of tired. They look like they're at a stage where it could go pear-shaped, but if you get some momentum, you get a little bit of excitement, you can get some adrenaline, and away you go. So, yeah, that's Todd Murphy's role specifically will be to nullify Nathan McAndrew in his first 4 or 5 overs, and probably the same to Jordan Buckingham. And after that, you're nearly home if you're the Victorian team.
One area where maybe South Australia are lacking a bit is that Ben Menenti is a solid spinner who can hold down an end, but he's not necessarily the most damaging spin bowler as well. On a day 5 wicket, which we saw Todd Murphy get a bit of spin out of on day 4, but they don't really have those damaging spinners. Nathan McSweeney actually picked up 3 wickets when they played him in the Shield match at the end as a part-time spinner, but it's a very seam-heavy attack they're going to have on this final day.
Well, there's 8 mil of grass on the surface, and it has sort of dried out. So there is opportunity to spin the ball. It's hard underneath. I went and checked out the surface this morning, Ned, and it looked good. The one thing which was disturbing to me was the indentations that the ball had left over a period of time, and that's from day 1 where it was wet, it hadn't dried out, and the ball just sort of takes a little bit of grass out. So that's where you get that sort of seam movement from. Menenti's a little bit of an issue. I wouldn't see him bowl at all today. Yeah, I'd put it on my quicks to say, look, we're gonna rotate you, hustle you through here, and maybe 1 or 2 overs just to break it up. But really, I can't see him doing any damage at all today. And if he does, it means that the Victorians have had a stinker and played a couple of rash shots.
Well, there's a few still to come in for Victoria who obviously are recognised as genuine all-rounders. Will Sutherland and Fergus O'Neill still to come into the batting lineup. There's Mitch Perry out there, who obviously is the replacement for Sam Elliott, although it's slightly confusing. I've noticed this on a couple of occasions this season where there is a substitute who's been included. If you go look at the scorecards, they'll still have the batter in there who has been subbed out, or the player in there who's been subbed out. So Sam Elliott is still looking at it on the scorecards online. Ollie Peake as well still to come out, who obviously was held back last night. So he's another one who they'll have high hopes of getting over the line. So if you're looking at it straight, just like that, who has the advantage at this stage? Would you say, which dressing room would you prefer to be in?
Runs on the board, actually.
Right.
I'd certainly fancy my chances for the South Australians. The only... look, I've got to think with my Victorian hat on as well. I'm looking out in the middle and I'm thinking it's a pretty flat wicket now. It's probably the best conditions to bat now. Only that they're 5 wickets down. They've still got quality.
Yeah.
So I'm looking still Ollie Peake. There's still Sutherland. There's still Fergus O'Neill. There should be enough batting in that lineup, plus Mitch Perry. Let's take Murph out of it. There's 4 guys that should be able to get you a 20 or 30 and put together some partnerships to win the game. So, look, if you can trust yourself and back yourself and nullify this first 20 minutes, then I'm backing the Victorians to get there. It
has been an absolutely thrilling final, and it has swung back and forth all the way through. One side on top, then the other side wresting the momentum away from them. It's what we've seen all the way through, and there's no question last night when Hanscom and Harris were out there looking very, very comfortable indeed. There was no question at that point the Vics were well on top and looking like they were set for a comfortable victory in the end, but both dismissed last night without a run being added to the score. Hanscom went for 28, there were 4 for 102, and then an over later, Marcus Harris followed, pushing at one outside the off stump, nicking it through to second slip, 5 for 102, and that is still the same score here. The South Australian side, remarkable resolve they showed to get out to eventually be 258 all out to set that target of 196 to win. 103 for Alex Carey, Nathan McAndrews vital 60, and he came out to bat alongside Alex Carey, and the score was 7 for 112. So that just goes to show how deep they dug down, and a lot of, as you were mentioning, a lot of runs conceded by the Victorians there. They probably let them have 20 or 30 too many runs there from that sort of soft fielding setup that they had with everybody back on the rope, just happy to concede a few runs.
I'm going higher than that, Ned. I reckon 70, 80 to 90 runs. I thought it was that generous the way it was 3 runs and over without any trouble whatsoever for a period of a full session. So look, I did talk to Robbie Castle. He said that they beat the bat on numerous occasions to Nathan McAndrew, and if that slip catch is taken, well...
McAndrew starts things off here, and an edge through the slip cordon and running down towards third to start things off here from Mitch Perry, and that's a gratefully received 2 runs knocked off the target straight away with the very first ball.
Yeah, that's a good start from Mitch Perry. Little loosener again from McAndrew. We have seen that over the course of the game where his sort of first 1 or 2 deliveries are down on pace. It looked like he's carrying a number of injuries. He's taped up, his whole leg's taped up, his right leg, the knee, the ankles. So it's been a phenomenal workhorse effort from Nathan McAndrew.
He got back to walking level with the stumps then and stopped again for a bit of a stretch out on his lower back as well. So he comes racing in again now, though, to Perry. And this one again is pushed out. It's an exact carbon copy of the previous shot. Finds the edge. It runs away along the floor, down to third, near the boundary rope. In fact, they're going to take 3 here, the Victorians. Happy to have Todd Murphy come through and be exposed to Nathan McAndrew for the sake of getting an extra run off the target. And it's now 89 to win.
They're handy runs, aren't they? Not... just straightened a little bit. So McAndrew, if he can get his body right and there's a little bit of extra effort, that's going to potentially just take the edge and go through to the slips. It was only because it was probably, I don't know, 125 kilometres an hour that Mitch Perry was able to just dead bat it and took the outside edge. So if he can find a little bit of extra zip, needs to find it now because they haven't got a lot of time. So needs to get into his work. Todd Murphy, he's actually... It should be better than his numbers present. Murphy, he's more than capable of being up on the sort of Mitch Perry standard of batting.
Another left-hander faces up to McAndrew. This is on the hips. It clatters into the pads. Stifled shout from behind the stump. So there's 3 slips, a gully in place. Fairly conventional field by the South Australians in place at this stage. So Todd Murphy, originally listed to come in at number 11. He did jump in the first innings ahead of Scott Boland as well. Definitely hold an end down at the very bare minimum.
Yeah, pushing deep square leg back now.
I think it's an interesting. I mean, obviously that's the the telegraph that there might be some short balls coming the way of Todd Murphy, but there's nobody catching in close on the leg side at the moment. There's a bat pad on that side, which you thought they might be tempted to go with. Shouldn't see too many attacking strokes from Murphy. This one clatters into the pads. It's just flicked out through square leg, and because Jake Lehman had been pushed out to the deep square leg boundary, there's an easy run picked up as a leg by there. And Murphy gets down to the other end, and again it's 1 more off the total.
It's been a sort of consistent occurrence from Nathan McAndrew. It's almost like every first over that he's bowled in the whole game has gone for some runs. It's not like there's been a maiden or a huge amount of pressure, and then he sort of builds up and builds up and builds up.
Back at the top of his mark to come running in to Mitch Perry. Lehman's come back into conventional square leg now as this one is driven back down the pitch by Mitch Perry. That's a beautifully played shot. It'll run on towards the boundary rope. It'll get there first before the fielders can, and that's 4 runs to Mitch Perry. And this has been a very, very strong first over from the Victorian side, who are eating into that deficit very, very quickly. 94 to win when play started, down to 85 runs to win now. And you were the one, I think, Hodge, you were talking even on day one about bowlers setting tones in matches sometimes when you're out there, and straight away the Victorians are on the front foot here and they're setting the tone out there.
It's pretty gentle from Nathan McAndrew. Couple of balls just on a length, and then that one's over pitched. See what this finish will be. Should be a short ball.
It is a short ball, a little too short. So much so that Mitch Perry barely ducked out the way of it, just let it go sailing through over his head. And Victoria has moved on for 5 for 112, and that's probably as good a first over as the Victorians could have been hoping for here, where not really hit under any pressure, and they've added some very, very valuable runs to their total to creep them closer towards that victory target here at Junction Oval.
Yeah, so Liam Scott, so not a known opening bowler, but he's actually bowled pretty well in this this innings without a lot of luck, actually. This will be an important moment for this young man, and I don't know whether he understands how important this over is on the back of a pretty gentle one from Nathan McAndrew and a dominant one for Victoria. He really needs to build some dot ball pressure here. Just get the ball through to the wicketkeeper. Just nullify the runs for a moment. Get the slip cord and talking up your chances.
Well, we've got Scott at the top of his mark. He's going to come around the wicket to Todd Murphy. 3 slips, gully in place, conventional field. This is just pushed back up towards the bowler by Todd Murphy.
That's a good start from Liam Scott. Again, right on top of off stump, pressuring the technique of Murphy. Good line and length. I watched him closely then. You could see the effort, bent his back.
quite as well from the Victorians so far, that obviously when there was a couple there to hit and attack, that's exactly what they did. They've been looking to get quick runs. They were happy to expose Todd Murphy, even taking a third run as this one rears up and bounces down awkwardly off the handle.
Imagine, here's one for you, Ned. Just say this game pans out. And imagine Mitch Perry just finishes with 45 not out here today, or a 50.
Yeah.
That's going to be a huge talking point going forward in cricket circles, that's for sure.
I was communicating with the host of the ABC Cricket Podcast last night, Corbin Middlemass, who will be recording with Ed Cowan later on today, and just discussing that very subject about the impact of Mitch Perry here as Liam Scott comes in. This is angled away out to point by Todd Murphy. I mean, even the wicket with the very first ball was a huge moment in the South Australian innings, removing McSweeney in the way that he did. I know in the end, a bit of momentum was wrested back by South Australia, but substitute fielder comes in, first ball, takes out the leading run scorer in the first innings. I mean, it's a big moment. As you say, if he goes out there now and scores some very handy runs in this run chase.
Amazing.
All with a super sub, we discussed a lot. Scott come in here to Murphy again, 3 to come in the over. Pitched up, nicked, goes behind, and that's caught out. So Todd Murphy departs. He only lasts midway through the second over of the morning's play. The night watchman is walking off. Nice ball in. We've seen the ball before, a little bit shorter, that reared up into Todd Murphy, and this one nicked through to the gloves of Alex Carey. And Murphy departs for 0.
Oh, just pushed it outside off stump. Proper tail enders defensive mechanism, that one, Ned. And Liam Scott, he's looked dangerous coming around the wicket, challenging the left-handers outside off stump. That's a poor shot, that one from Murphy. I think that was on the back of that rearing delivery, the ball before. But I guess this is where it all starts, Ned, isn't it? Not sure Murphy didn't do his job, because his job was there, as we discussed a bit earlier, is to take some time out of the ball. And now that's just given the South Australians a little bit of momentum. Well, not a little bit, a lot of momentum into this morning play. Some real belief, some real hope. 4 balls away from victory.
Well, you go out there with the Victorians, as you say, with the mindset of, OK, you two stay out there for as long as possible, take a bit of energy out of the bowlers, take some shine off the ball. And the South Australians will be hoping, let's get a wicket in the first couple of overs here to give them that extra lift and that momentum and that greater belief. And that's exactly what has happened. Although there were some runs off that McAndrew over, it's South Australia, that's exactly what they would have been after. And you see that instantly rise in enthusiasm.
Yeah, well, this will be interesting to watch this, Ned, because Ollie Peake, he was all at sea for the first sort of 10 balls before he got dropped.
Peake on strike, gets well behind this, pushes it out to mid-off, but nice line again, and lots of appreciative noises from the South Australian slip cordon.
Well, it's good defensive play there from Ollie Peake. He's got a good temperament, the young man, that's for sure. I was talking to Shannon Young about him before this game actually even started. He said he's like a 34-year-old batting in a teenager's body. So it's a good thing. It means he's got a wise head on his shoulders.
Exactly what the Victorians need right now. 6 for 112. This one comes off the edge of his bat out towards point, and that is the end of the over, and a wicket maiden for Liam Scott, removing Todd Murphy in that over. He's 2 for 24 now, Scott, off the 12 overs. He's bowled 8 maiden overs too. The Victorians are 5 for 112 at the end of that over. They need 84 more runs to win. They've knocked 10 off the total this morning. However, they have lost their night watchman, Todd Murphy. So as you say, it almost all begins again now. Interesting to see how McAndrew follows up after that first over that was expensive. We're seeing him down on doing some quad stretches at the moment and really trying to limber himself up to run in from around the wicket at that Fitzroy Street end.
Well, it's now or never, Ned, let's be honest. If he delivers the same sort of penetrative deliveries he did in the first innings or first over, then it's going to be pretty comfortable for Mitch Perry. Change of field, 2 third slips come out into extra cover.
This one's driven away along the floor up to mid-on.
Yeah, I'm not saying he's not trying. I'm just saying that it just looks like it's... I think he's just nervous to bend his back and it looks like he might break, but
It's the last day of the Shield season. I think he's, as you say, he's carrying an awful lot of niggles into this match.
He is.
Stitched together with tape at the moment, Nathan McAndrew.
But from his point of view, if I was the captain, I'd be just going up to say, mate, just get the ball, just on a channel, just outside off stump, get the ball through to the wicket keepers, just build some pressure for the moment.
Doing it again now, around the wicket to Perry, slaps into the pads, and big shout, but turned down by the umpire. Applebee could come a few paces down the pitch then. Just shaking their head. I think anything that touches the pads, we're going to hear a similar noise from behind the stumps. McAndrew went up then as well.
Yeah, big inside edge, not too far away. McAndrew again just on the fuller side of where he needs to be. Just needs to just find that length, that challenging length. Back of the length, just hitting the top of off stump. Wanting Mitch Perry to come forward, 2 slips in play. Fraser McGurk is at gullies, pretty close actually.
We saw him yesterday when he was standing at third slip. He was a fair bit advanced in from his 2 slips alongside him. As McAndrew into Perry now. Perry just gets the bat down on this one. It runs off his pads into the gully region.
Yeah, it's nicely played. Good technique from a super sub, Mitch Perry. And they're putting deep square leg back out again. I'm not a massive fan of this. I'm not sure what the point of this tactic is.
Yeah.
And only the reason to be, I like the claustrophobic feel of the fielders in there, particularly when there's pressure on. They've just lost the wicket.
I'm the same, as I say, in with Todd Murphy. You think if you're going to slam it in short, he's got a simple out now of just dropping that ball into that big vacant square leg region, which is exactly what they did last time. But McAndrew comes in now. This goes past the edge of the bat. That's a nice delivery. Has him pushing forward then, Perry.
Maybe that's it. Maybe it's just a double bluff. But with all due respect, I'm not sure you're worried about anyone putting the deep square leg back out with the ball speed that you see in this game. It's all sort of 125 up to 130. Maybe Scotty Boland, Henry Thornton, 135 when they're going well, but nothing too scary at all, Ned. If you said I'm going to bump you, you'd be right. Let's bring it on. No problem. Gets it away from the little edging one off a good length.
Exactly. As McAndrew and again to Perry. This one's clipped off the pads. Big shout and the finger goes up. He's been given. Leg before wicket. Nathan McAndrew has removed Mitch Perry. And only the 3rd over of the morning. Victoria have lost their 2nd wicket on the day and their 7 for 112. And that victory target of 196 has been pushed just that little bit further away.
Looks like a similar dismissal to Brasher, where he just moved across the stumps. Oh, it's pretty close, actually. He's tried to work that into the gap. Played all across it. I think that's a good decision. I think that's out. So, again, the questionable technique of these players, just trying to crab across the crease and work the ball. It's seaming into a vacant gap. To me, this is what it all comes down to. Fergus O'Neill. It's going to be player of the match versus player of the match exactly. Right now. Nathan McAndrew versus Fergus O'Neill.
Well, I think this decides the award, doesn't it?
It certainly does. Whoever wins this this battle will probably go on and lift the trophy and probably take the accolades of player of the match. So here we go.
But Victoria have now lost 2 wickets without a run being added, as they did at the close of play yesterday. So both wickets falling on 102. 2 wickets falling with a score on 112 now. And tails up for the South Australians. Exactly what they would have been hoping for this morning. O'Neill and Peake out in the middle. 84 more runs still required. 3 wickets in hand for Victoria. McAndrew comes in, 2 slips in place on the pads, clipped out to square leg. Hands on heads from the South Australians. He felt that almost got past the bat, but it's the end of the over. It's the South Australians who are certainly making more noise here at the moment with the, there is that, they've given them a nice spot for the marquee here. The Cricket Victoria have allowed the South Australians to have a very nice spot just next to the main media centre here, and there's a lot of fans sitting inside that marquee today.
Amazing, isn't it? You don't get that from the Liverpool fans if Everton come and play at the Cop, do they? No. It's get jammed in the back of a corner somewhere and away you go. Watch the game and try and get out of there without any damage. So it's beautiful little setup that they've got there.
Yeah.
I actually wouldn't mind that being some sort of permanent structure.
Absolutely.
Beautiful little setup.
Liam Scott's not hanging around. He comes in around the wicket now to Ollie Peake, who leaves this one alone outside the off stump. It didn't get up particularly high as it went through well wide of Ollie Peake, who was quite happy to leave that one well alone.
And that's what happens when the ball continues to go through. You don't hit the ball in there. The runs just feel like they're a mile away. Pressure's on here, so there's two ways you can sort of go about it for Peake and Fergus. You can trust your technique and just sort of dent this moment, or play a fraction more aggressive if you've got the courage.
Here comes Scott to Peake. Squares it up a touch, plays it back up towards the bowler. The dot ball to start things off here. Conceded a run yet this morning, Liam Scott.
No, it's been good. He looks pretty comfortable when he's bowling around the wicket to the left-hander, and he's got the ability to sort of shape it away or move it off the pitch from past the outside edge. It's been good.
Saw him yesterday mid-over, switching over and round the wicket to left-handers. Confident enough with his line. This one again. Squares Ollie Peake up a touch, plays it back up the pitch towards Liam Scott.
It's definitely employed to Peake because he's such a good player through extra cover, backward a point, like any left-hander really. You give any room, it's going to get carved away through points. So this is a technique where, let's keep him. Just looking at the footwork again there, not a lot of footwork or a lot of movement. He's a small kid, so I wouldn't expect a huge amount of footwork from Ollie Peake.
Scott to Peake from the city end, gets nicely back behind this one though. Just solid contact with the forward defensive, pushes it up towards mid-off.
It's not a huge stride though, Ned.
No.
It's interesting. I've been watching the techniques all through this game, and my first observation is it's actually, if the ball's moving, it's not a surprise that there's people averaging 30 around the country, to be honest. It's my initial observation.
Yeah. He is going back over the wicket now to Ollie Peake. Gets behind this, drops it down onto the pitch, plays it back up towards the bowler.
Good from Peake, good from Scott as well. Sort of trying to mix the mind up of the young player and keep him on naught for as long as possible. That's what you want to do as the South Australians. Just not give any freebies. Don't give him a little turn off the hip or a shot down the fine leg and release the pressure. Both O'Neill and Peake right now are just trying to ride this wave of trouble, actually.
Yeah, it is trouble at the moment as Victoria's 7 down now. This one goes past the edge of the bat. He pulled the bat well out of the way then, Ollie Peake, but good delivery. The ball sliding across the left-hander and going through to the gloves of Alex Carey. Another maiden over to kick the day off for Scott. 9 of his 13 have been maiden overs. He's 2 for 24. And at the end of that over, it's still 7 for 112.
Yeah, that one looked like it just seemed away. As I said, Ned, I went and had a look at the surface. There was plenty of little indentations in the wicket. So there was a lot of encouragement for the South Australians. And if you looked and said, well, if I continually bang it in there on a length, then it's going to be difficult to score.
McAndrew comes in now to Fergus O'Neill. 2 slips in place, gets back behind this. It goes back past Ollie Peake and back past the bowler, and they go and take a single. Ollie Peake wants a second, almost a mix-up here. He gets back quickly then, Fergus O'Neill. That is not what you want there, a real mix-up in the calling between the two batters. But Ollie Peake thought about the second. Fergus O'Neill wasn't sure. They then thought about it again and then went back. So just the single taken in the end. You can see the nerves out there.
It's actually nicely played from O'Neill. And there was a couple of yes-nos waits from Ollie Peake, and in the end sent him back and had ample time. That reminded me of some junior cricket that I watch, Ned, and usually it doesn't end that well. It usually ends in disaster.
Yeah. I'm sure a lot of that is due to the nerves in both these batters out there. As Ollie Peake on strike now, left-hander.
Yeah, 3 slips in play now, so the covers come into a catching position.
Round the wicket, McAndrew well pitched up and well driven by Ollie Peake. Over-pitched from Nathan McAndrew, and he drives that away along the floor and out over the boundary rope for 4 runs. And nice to see from Ollie Peake the composure he's had. He's been pegged down, hasn't been off the mark, and finally gets one away. And it's a nice 4 runs, straight drive down the ground.
It's pretty poor delivery there, actually, from McAndrew. It was gentle, it was basically landing on the popping crease without any venom, and Ollie Peake, with the skill he's got, just pumped it back past him. So, yeah, a little confidence builder from Ollie Peake. Tell you what, McAndrew, he needs to come to the party right now for South Australia. He's obviously hurting.
79 to win for Victoria as McAndrew comes in, left alone outside the off stump by Ollie Peake.
That's a little bit more like it, a little bit more venom. Bend the back. The ball that he pitched up before to Ollie Peake was sort of gentle, medium pace up, pitched up. That one bent the back, hits the length, a little bit of seam movement. Good watching from Ollie Peake, and yeah, ball not even carrying through to Alex Carey there.
Day 5 pitch here. We've seen a couple that haven't quite got up with the same bounce that we were seeing on the opening few days here. It's McAndrew to Peake, who's on 4. Steps forward a little, Peake then, and flicks it away to mid-on.
It's definitely a seamer's wicket, this one, Ned. And strategically, I know they didn't pull the trigger. But if South Australia was strategically very savvy and smart, I would have taken Henry Thornton out of the game and put Wes Agar in. And no disrespect to Thornton, only because the extra ball speed is not that, it's not seaming. And Wes Agar's that sort of tallish, hit a length sort of bowler. I don't know how his form been. It's obviously not as good as Thornton because he's not picked, but little strategic play.
McAndrew around the wicket, and he tries to cut this one late, goes down into the ground and bounces its way up towards the slip cordon. It's another dot ball.
And the problem, we're going into a grey area because I don't think that's actually in the spirit of cricket, I'll be honest.
No, but I mean, that is the rule in the sense that if Victoria are allowed to make a substitute due to an injury, they get given a free hit, essentially. So it's activated by Victoria making the change.
But why do you get given a free hit? Because there's no one's injured. So how do you just get a free hit? What if you just had Mitchell Stark listed as your 12th man and then said, well, come in and just bowl 6 overs, Mitch, and you can get 3 for 10 like he normally does in Sheffield Shield and win it.
McAndrew around the wicket to Peake, pitched up again, driven up to mid-off. And that is the end of the over. Well, the other one I thought was interesting with this too is that when it's going to be like for like, so if you're replacing a bowler with a bowler, I'm not sure what the rule is if they could hook Ben Benenti out and put another seamer in there and have an extra seam bowler in there rather than a spinner.
Yeah, they say like for like, but it doesn't matter if you bowl spin or seam, isn't it? You're a bowler. Like, it doesn't matter what variation.
Well, and see, if you're a batter, you put a left-handed batter in for a left-handed batter or whatever, you just have to put a batter in. So surely with bowlers, you're a bowler for a bowler.
That's a good point. So Mitch Turner, who I'm not sure he's showing up today after he got a pay rise last night, having some dinner with the boss. And
pay for it as well.
he just said that the Wes Agar has had some back issues, so whether that's something that's come into consideration. But yeah, I don't like the free hit. I brought it up because strategically I think it's a smart move.
Yeah. But Scott comes in again. This one's outside the off stump, and with Alex Carey standing up to the stumps after the ball was long in the gloves then. Ferguson has a big swoop at that one.
It's a good bounce. I don't think, not sure why Alex Carey's come up to the stumps. Maybe Fergus O'Neill was batting out of his crease and he's trying to keep him, challenge the top of off stump and the pads. But there's a little bit of extra bounce. There's enough bounce there to think, wow, he's going to get an outside edge and it's probably easier to catch standing back.
Scott right arm over the wicket to the right-handed O'Neill. This one's driven away up towards mid-off. Batted really sensibly in the first innings as well, Fergus O'Neill. The game I mentioned before, when they lost to Queensland and they were on a run chase then, the Victorians, he went out and he played really aggressively from the off, and he hit a couple of good shots, scored some quick runs and then got out. Whereas certainly in the first innings when Victoria were up against it, he reined a lot of that aggressive attacking instinct in and just played a really sensible knock.
Did that for Melbourne Cricket Club when they won a flag a couple of years ago. They just came out and whacked 33 off 15 balls. Got him over the line.
Scott in. This is driven out on the offside. That's a nice shot by Fergus O'Neill. It won't make it all the way to the boundary. Didn't fly off the face of the bat the way he would have liked, but they're going to come back and run 3 here as O'Neill runs back down towards the bowler's end. And he runs then 7 for 120 now.
Yeah, good running, good shot. And you tend to find that when the keeper's up to the stumps, the bowler generally bowls full of a length. And you get a few more cover drives and drives. That one over pitch there from Scott. The carry's gone back now to Ollie Peake, coming around the wicket, staying over the wicket, sorry. So just trying to get Peake sort of caught on the crease. He'll look to pitch it around leg, middle and leg, and see if Ollie Peake just sort of opens that blade as he can do and present something to the slips.
2 slips in place now. McSweeney's put himself in an extra cover as Scott comes in. He's nicked it, and Carey's caught it, diving away to his left. The finger goes up, and exactly as you said, Brad Hodge, just pushing at one then. Ollie Peake outside the off stump, and that's the 8th wicket down here for Victoria. Peake departs, having scored 4, and South Australia are 2 wickets away from what would be a remarkable victory in this Shield final and see them retain the Shield trophy.
Yeah, it's a bit of a disaster, that. The umpire just telling Will Sutherland just to stay there. We'll check the no ball again, which to me just feels like a complete waste of time. Look, this is a disaster, this, for the Victorian unit. Ollie Peake, have a look at it on screen. Looks like it's, we'll tell you what, it's pretty
quite close,
tight.
That is pretty close. Unfortunately, because this isn't international cricket with the full-scale broadcast team, we're only getting a shot from one angle on the line, and Fergus O'Neill is blocking a fair bit of that with his bat, but that is pretty close. However, it's past muster, and Ollie Peake has walked off over the line, and Will Sutherland is on his way out.
Tell you what, just on that one, Ned, when he actually delivered the ball, there was nothing behind the line there.
I thought that
so has he slipped or gone, like we're talking an inch and a half. Do you slip an inch and a half as a fast bowler? I'm not sure, I can't remember.
I'm trying to think which dismissal it was last night. There was one last night that we looked at, and they had quite a long look at it, where his heel was just on the line. I'm not sure if it was Henry Thornton who got Hanscom out.
Well, I saw
that was a bit further over.
That is over.
Yeah.
So I'd love to see a little bit of... I'd love to see another angle. Unfortunately, there's not another angle. So in that sense, they've guessed. So does the umpire on field go, I think this is a no ball, actually?
Yeah.
And do you take his word for it? Or does he go, no, this is a fair delivery? Can you just check upstairs?
We saw with the Thornton one, they even looked at a reverse angle, which told us nothing, but you could see they were still looking at from different angles to see if they could see anything else from what had happened. On this occasion, they had a quick look then. As I say, Fergus O'Neill was blocking a lot of the view. As it is, doesn't matter, it's in the book. Ollie Peake is out, and Will Sutherland's facing up now to Liam Scott. With Alex Carey standing up, it runs off the bat down into the pitch. And this is it now for Victoria. 8 wickets down, Sutherland and O'Neill at the crease, only Scott Boland to come in after this. South Australia can sniff this victory.
Well, I think it's an important talking point because, I mean, really, if you see a dismissal now, does the umpire actually even have to put their arm out for a no ball? Or if they see it, do they call it? How does it work?
They have been calling it, because in the first innings, South Australia overstepped a number of times. I think they about 6 no balls called as Scott comes in. This is played away on the onside, briefly in the air for a moment before it drops down in front of Jake Lehman, and that's the end of another very good Liam Scott over. He did concede 3 runs off that one, but more importantly, he picked up a wicket to leave the Victorian side struggling here at 8 for 180, and it's all now on the shoulders of the skipper, Will Sutherland, and Fergus O'Neill out there in the middle.
It's not quite sure. Let's have a look at the replay of Ollie Peake here. A young kid, he'll work it out, but I'm just trying to work out what was he trying to do there as he walked down the crease? Was he looking to disrupt the line and length of Scott and just walked down and tried to play a defensive
O'Neill clips this one off the pads around the corner. It was drifting towards leg side off McAndrew's ball. Leg by signalled by the umpire, but they'll go in the book as 4 runs to the Victorian total, and it's now 8 for 124.
Handy runs, but if I gave some advice to Ollie Peake, if he ever asked for it, I'd say, well, don't walk down the crease, mate. Go and stand there to start with. Go and stand a metre out of the crease if you're worried about nicking it or getting LB or bowled. Like, they're bowling 125 kilometres an hour. It's not like you're going to be beaten by pace.
Yeah.
So go and stand down there. If you want to try and get Alex Carey up to the stumps, then that's the way to do it. If you're worried about nicking it. Anyway, they're all young lessons that we all learn, and we all learn the hard way, unfortunately, back in the pavilion.
Yeah, 19 years of age. A lot of cricket left in front of him as McAndrew comes into O'Neill. Just works this one out on the onside. It's a dot ball.
Defensive again. O'Neill, he's looked the best out of pretty much all the Victorian unit, I must say.
It was interesting, this spell in the match late yesterday, and obviously maybe a bit to do with fatigue in the South Australian side as well, but Hanscom and Harris were looking very, very comfortable out there for a long period of time, and you thought they're going to cruise into the end of the day and come back tomorrow morning and try and chase down the remaining runs. And all of a sudden those two go, and the wickets have started tumbling in quick succession afterwards, but for some batters they've got themselves in out there and actually made it look like a very easy batting track as McAndrew comes in. He comes off a leading edge, it goes up towards mid-off, but it's well short of the fielder up there. Big shout from around the field from the South Australians, didn't go to hand.
Cricket's just never that easy, Ned, is it? It just doesn't come easy. That's why it's such a tough game mentally and physically. We're into the 5th day now. A lot of this is uncharted territory for a lot of these players. Just have a look at Scotty Boland on the camera view. He'll be nervous, that's for sure.
Ever as McAndrew into O'Neill. That's beautifully played through mid-wicket. It'll race on towards the boundary rope. Not sure it'll quite make there. Big chase from Jordan Buckingham's got the long legs pumping to get back after the ball. And they get back and run 3. So again, very handy run. 69 runs to win now for Victoria. Yeah. Scoreboard ticking over a little more.
Yeah, I just think in strategy, again, I wasn't a fan of the 2 night watchmen's, only because we talked about it. If they go early, then there's a huge momentum shift, and then the batters think, well, we're only still 3 wickets away from losing this game, so how much freedom can we play with? So you'll see that Sutherland and Fergus O'Neill will probably have to play with a really defensive game, and it's going to just be stretched out and out and out, and it'll take forever to get these 80-odd runs that are left.
Sutherland on strike now to McAndrew. Gets back behind this one. Solid defensive shot, pushed up towards mid-off, dot ball, 8 for 127.
So clearly the coverage on the TV thinks that South Australia on top, because they've just got South Australia 2 runs to win. It hasn't got Victoria X amount of runs to win. And it does look that way visually, yes. So McAndrew now putting square leg out, mid-wicket in. Did see Sutherland get out around the wicket from Henry Thornton, challenged by the short pitch delivery. I think this needs to be a bluff, though. I'd be getting the ball outside off stump, challenging the outside edge of Sutherland.
Gets back behind this. There was a stifled shout there. He just got the bat down on that one in time before it struck the front pad. And that is the end of the over from McAndrew. 8 for 127. 69 more runs to win for Victoria. 2 more wickets for South Australia to retain the Sheffield Shield title. I wonder how many overs they're going to give Nathan McAndrew, seeing as he seems to be battling a few niggles out there. He's put a huge workload in through the course of this match already, and with the bat as well as just with the ball. In fact, I think they are going to swap him out now, mostly due to the fact that they've changed his fielding position and he's come to field now at mid-off. In fact, he's walking off the field, I think.
He's walking off the field, Ned, and that's look, it's not a surprise. He's had a huge workload actually throughout this whole game. He's barely been off the field for any period of time. So Herculean effort by Nathan McAndrew. So he might do the Freddie Flintoff, go up and chug a can of Red Bull and go back out and bowl 155 kilometres an hour.
Scott comes in to O'Neill, who plays this one away up to mid-on.
That was the 2005 method that they all had.
Yeah.
No reprieve. Simon Jones, 150 kilometres an hour. Harmison was bowling 155 kilometres an hour. Freddie himself.
Yeah.
It was a phenomenal effort and attack.
I still think that's the greatest series I've ever been able to witness in my lifetime in terms of That was one where absolutely every hour, every session, you felt the whole series was on a knife edge as Scott comes in, drifting in towards leg stump. It's clipped away by Fergus O'Neill. Lots of oohs and ahs from around the slips. And
Yeah,
it's down to long leg for a single.
It's not far away. It's on off stump and little inside edge, but I think Fergus O'Neill feels quite comfortable with Carey up to the stumps. I think Sutherland will feel the same as well. Both of these players will be thinking, oh, the danger's that I nick it. And you don't feel you nick it when the keeper's up to the stumps for some reason. Maybe this, as I talked about, those pitched a fraction fuller. You don't get caught in that sort of no man's land. You tend to hit the ball more as well.
So Scott coming in to Sutherland. He gets behind this and drives it up towards mid-off. Jordan Buckingham fields. It's a dot ball.
Shots like that, I'm not sure why, but if the keeper's back, then you're a little bit more tentative. That's a good shot that from Sutherland, who's still on Nord. These runs just look hard to come by, don't they, at the moment? It's just Victoria's just gone into their shell after multiple 3 wickets lost this morning.
It's probably, as you're saying, with having night watchmen in overnight and they were falling early as Scott comes in. This goes past the edge of the bat into the gloves of Alex Carey. Good ball bowled by Scott and sharp work. He's actually whipped the bails off then.
Well, it's had the reverse effect for Victoria. They set those two players in to protect Ollie Peake.
Yeah.
And it's actually caused him more problems because he walked out there under extreme pressure after South Australia just picked up a couple of wickets and all the momentum was with them and found it hard to score. So, look, there's no right or wrong answer. I'm just saying that's the way it's unfolded, unfortunately, for Victoria.
As you were saying, if they'd stayed out there for 10, 15 overs, as Scott comes in, this is driven away up towards mid-off. They'll take the single on here. Jordan Buckingham gets there, has a shot at the stumps, hits Will Sutherland. I'm sure Will Sutherland won't be that concerned about as he's got through and picked up a single and he's got off the mark. He moves on to one. The score to 8 for 129 and 67 more required to win.
Got a century and a 50 this year, Will Sutherland, so pretty handy number 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, very handy.
Interesting looking batting lineup when you've shuffled it around. Those late wickets falling yesterday. Scott comes into O'Neill, gets well back behind this, pushes it away on the offside, and that is the end of the over. And Victoria finished that one 8 for 129. They need 67 more runs to win here today on the final day of the Sheffield Shield final. South Australia are requiring 2 more wickets to lift the title for a second year in a row. And Brad Hodge is about to be joined by Mitch Turner.
ABC Sports coverage
Of Victoria versus South Australia, the Sheffield Shield final.
on your radio, ABC Sport Digital Radio.
And ABC Listen.
Early breakthroughs for the South Australians in this Sheffield Shield final. They are 2 wickets away from back-to-back titles for the first time in their history. What a moment it would be. Victoria, though, they're still in the game. 2 batters out there who can certainly score runs and hold up an end. Will Sutherland, he's on strike at the moment on 1, 8 for 129. Thornton runs in, bowls on the stumps. Sutherland defends as 5-time Shield title winner Bobby Quiney sits down alongside myself. Bobby, it's been a good morning for South Australia, but there's plenty of cricket left to play.
Yeah, heaps of cricket left. Not the start that Victoria wanted, but I tell you what, the South Australian fans here are up and about. The players are up and about, and you know they're sensing that today's the day the Teddy Bear have their picnic. So everything's leading to a South Australia win here. I feel like in the position they're at, it's theirs to lose at the moment. There's still so many runs to get.
Thornton into Sutherland, who drops it onto the offside. Thought of a single maybe, but they quickly said no. Fergus O'Neill at the other end.
It's a big ask, isn't it? I think someone was texting me last night and saying, you know, you've still got him, so, you know, you've still got Fergus O'Neill, but you can't expect Fergus O'Neill to pump out another big score to save you. And probably the most disappointing thing was seeing that, you know, the back of Ollie Peake so early from a Victorian perspective. But, you know, you've got the big captain who's had an emotional roller coaster, I think, in this game. He's tried to take a lot upon himself, and he's got a really good opportunity to do this today.
Thornton into Sutherland, who works their way through the leg side for a single. He moved to 8 for 130. Sutherland to 2. O'Neill on 8. So what is it now? 66 more runs for Victoria to get back on top of this Sheffield Shield land. Tell you what, one thing we can say for certain, whichever way it goes from here, a cracking Sheffield Shield final.
Yep.
Day 5. Henry Thornton has ball in hand. Bowls to Sutherland.
No ball.
O'Neill, it's straight, and O'Neill knocked it to mid-on, and we just had a conversation about umpires don't call no balls.
Yep. Sean Craig's called a couple.
I reckon that's
this game.
the 4th or 5th, maybe. Here we go. Oh, well over.
There you go. Hodge would be pretty wrapped there that an umpire's called that.
Good 2 inches over the front line there from Thornton. So 8 for 131. Thornton bowling to O'Neill in behind and knocks it around the corner to fine leg for a single. Every run is going to be clapped by this Junction Oval crowd. 8 for 132. O'Neill is on 9.
I thought Henry Thornton bowled fantastically yesterday. I thought he spelled a Harrison Hanscom, really rattled him somewhat. It was a combination of pace, a little bit of sideways movement, but his execution of his line and length was absolutely spot on. I heard Hodgie sort of talking about how maybe, you know, it's an opportunity for Victoria to eke some runs out for someone like Thornton.
Who bowls to Sutherland and he knocks it away onto the leg side.
But I think the way he bowled yesterday, he's more of a chance to create an opportunity here than to leak runs. So 64 runs required here for Victoria, and O'Neill and Sutherland are going to have to get the bulk of them. So it's funny if you said to someone, hey, can you get us 30 runs? And you're like, yeah, that should be okay. I'll tell you what, in the big stage like this, it's not as easy as just rolling them out.
Sutherland, the Victorian captain, he's on strike. Thornton runs in, bowls, full, driving, edged and caught. Sanger takes the catch at first slip. And South Australia are 1 wicket away from back-to-back Sheffield Shield titles. The captain of Victoria is gone for 2, and they lose their 9th wickets. Wow.
He's bowled beautifully, Henry Thornton. That's the biggest wicket, 100% the biggest wicket. That's an amazing hill they've got to climb right now, Victoria and the South Australians. They can smell it, they can sniff it, they can almost touch it here, Mitch. Back-to-back titles for South Australia that has never, ever been done in the state. And they're so close, and we can hear the claps, we can hear the applauding, we can hear the support in the mics out there for the South Australians. And hats off to the public here. There's plenty of Victorians that have come out in hope, in support that maybe the Victorians could pinch this. The last roll of the dice. What has Scott Boland got for us?
He has been a hero for Victoria so many times with the ball. He's been a hero for his country. But right now, a position that would be somewhat unfamiliar. He is trying to save a Sheffield Shield final with bat in hand. Fergus O'Neill at the other end. The two that have done it with the ball for so many years now for Victoria. They have the bat in hand and they have to get them home. They still need 64 runs. If you're just joining us from local radio in South Australia, you'd be pleased to hear that after resuming at 5 for 102 this morning, Victoria needing another 94 runs for victory, South Australia have taken 4 wickets this morning for just 30 runs. 9 for 132. Liam Scott starts a new over. Fergus O'Neill on strike. Scott his right arm over the wicket. O'Neill forward and defending. Carey is up to the stumps.
And so we were critical of some of the fields Victorians set yesterday. So the field they've got for Fergus O'Neill here is 2 slips and a gully and a cover. And then everyone else is out. So fine leg is a standard, so that hasn't changed. So you've got a deep square and a long on, so no one's on the leg side, and a deep long off and a deep backward point. And essentially that's saying we want to bowl at Scott Boland. So similar tactics, just slightly different nuances in terms of how they're doing it.
Scott is in, 2 slips in place, bowls, and O'Neill Works it onto the leg side, and here we go. He's going to farm the strike a little bit. Does not take the single out to the deep.
He's like, well, I know he's batting at number 11. I've seen Scott Boland bat 2 Shield games for a long, long time. He made 50 off about 110 against Tasmania. Oh, probably going to say 2010, maybe 2011. And then again to help Cameron White get Victoria into the Shield final, he faced 83 balls for his 30. So he used to be able to hold the stick.
Scott bowls to O'Neill, who drives beautifully through the offside. They will be able to take 2 here. Out to cover. They do trot back the Victorians, so every run is going to help. 9 for 134. Fergus O'Neill to 11. So just quickly recapping for those in South Australia joining us on ABC Radio. The 4 wickets to fall this morning. Todd Murphy caught behind off the bowling of Scott for naught. Mitch Perry, he was gone for 9. Trapped LBW by Nathan McAndrew. 2 wickets in the space of an over. Ollie Peake, the youngster, he went for just 4. Caught behind off the bowling of Scott. And then in the over just gone, as you were joining us, the captain for Victoria, Will Sutherland. He was out for just 2 runs. He was caught in the cordon by Jason Sanger off the bowling of Henry Thornton.
All one-way traffic here this morning, Mitch. It's exactly what the South Australians wanted.
Liam Scott charges in. He bowls to Fergus O'Neill. It's straight on the stumps. He knocks it away onto the onside, and the fielder from Wildman on can come in and throw the ball back in. They add 1 to the total. 9 for 135. Victoria. O'Neill is 12. Boland yet to score. Rob Quiney, 5-time Sheffield Shield winner for Victoria, alongside myself, Mitch Turner. Live from the Junction Oval, Sheffield Shield final on ABC Sport.
And we're watching Fergus O'Neill just try and give Scott Boland a little insight as to what Liam Scott's bowling, and I think everyone knows what's going on. I tell you what, it's very hard to combat. He's bowled beautifully. I think we were talking off air, Mitch, and probably the most consistent bowler of the game, and he hasn't necessarily rattled off a 10-wicket haul in the match, but I'll tell you what, he's beaten the bat a hell of a lot. It's all over Marcus Harris at one stage, and he certainly made an indent this morning.
So running a helmet onto the field, might be getting a
bat pad.
Yeah, Mackenzie Harvey has it. Looks like he'll be the one to go under the lid for South Australia.
Well, and it's a great captaincy, because we've seen the last couple of batters, when they've come out to bat, struggle to sort of pick up the pace of the ball, and they'll be bowling cross seamers as well, which means that at some stage you bowl a stump to stump. If it sits up, maybe Mackenzie Harvey's in the game. He's just got to get through his first 10 balls here, Scotty Boland, and then he might find his groove. Remember, this man has opened the batting for Australia.
It's so unusual to say that, but you are right. Scott Boland is on strike. 2 slips a gully. Fielder under the helmet. Scott runs in, bowls, and Boland defends. South Australia need 1 more wicket. Victoria, they still need 61 runs.
So I heard Hodge and Ned talking about the battle between O'Neill and McAndrew, and they were absolutely spot on. And McAndrew so far has got 6 wickets for the game to go with 60 in the second innings, and you know, what did he get? 31 balls for his 17 in the first innings as well. So hell of a game. But Liam Scott, 3 for in both innings so far, has batted beautifully and really worked hard with the stick too.
Scott runs in, bowls to Boland, who confidently on the front foot, full face to the bat, defends, and Bobby Quiney loves it. That'll end the over. Victoria are 9 for 135. Still trailing that total, that target of 196 by 61 runs. Fergus O'Neill is 12. Scott Boland is yet to score. The wicket takers in this innings so far, Nathan McAndrew has 3 for 50. Liam Scott, 3 for 32. Henry Thornton, 2 for 12 off 8 overs. And Jordan Buckingham, he has 1 for 27. Just the 2 overs from Ben Benensi, none for 4.
So it's a hard one to reflect for Victoria's sake, because if you think about the context of the game, they led by 63 at the first innings, and then for South Australia to get 258, the reverse outright doesn't happen that often. And it's that, we always talk about crucial moments or crucial passages of play within a game, especially as important as this, and yesterday was that.
Thornton in to O'Neill, 1 wicket needed, beaten outside the off stump. Squared up, Thornton comes down the wicket, has a look at Fergus O'Neill, says go back to your mark, Henry. This is a good battle. 1 wicket needed for South Australia for back-to-back Sheffield Shield titles. Victoria, they will fight. They need 61 more runs.
We're seeing footage on TV just then of the coach, Ryan Harris, down on the ground, and the assistant coach, Stephen Stubbings. They're nervous. They're nervous, and fair enough, but it's anticipation nerves.
2 slips in a gully. Thornton runs in, bowls to O'Neill down the leg side. Did he get bat on it? Big shout for LBW.
He was about to give that.
It was close. It's a leg by 2, no bat on it. He came a long way across Fergus O'Neill. The ball went down to the boundary for 4 byes. Very, very fine too. The finest of fine legs.
This would be close, this one. I feel like Sean Craig was about to give that out. Henry Thornton just asking the question. Ooh. I'm going to have a look at the replay here. He's shuffling across a little bit. Oh, no, it's close, but it's going down.
I think it was just missing leg stump.
It looked like he wanted to give that out.
It was a long wait before he said no. South Australia searching for this final wicket. Thornton bowls. O'Neill almost pops it back to him with a leading edge. He tried to turn it onto the leg side. O'Neill down low. It didn't carry back to Thornton. And that was almost the moment again. Oh, the pressure of a final.
The crowd are absolutely silent. And a lot of them are anticipating when's this last wicket going to happen. But we've seen games like this before. I think it happened in the test match, didn't it, Edgbaston at some stage. I can't remember how many runs, but when Stokes and Leach were batting together and then, you know, just dwindled down the tally just slowly. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, how are we getting this wicket?
Then the pressure mounts. Nathan Lyon drops the ball over the stumps because there's extra pressure. A ball he would take 99 times out of 100.
Yep.
Thornton is in, chasing the winning wicket. Bowls to O'Neill, who stands up and just spats it. The straight bat, straight back to him. Now he's practicing the back foot cover drive. They still need the runs, Victoria. They can't just survive. They are still chasing the target of 196. They're 57 away.
So Ben Menente's come out of slip. Jason Sanger's moved to gully. Everyone's... So I dare say with 2 balls left, if they can bowl 2 balls above the shoulder, they're bringing them in.
Fergus O'Neill made 64 not out in Victoria's first innings. Scott Bowler made just 1. Fergus O'Neill was the pick of the batsman for Victoria. If you're just joining us, Rob Quiney, Brad Hodge have said this morning, Victoria get home, he will be the player of the match. 2 slips a gully. Thornton is in, bowling to O'Neill. Straight through him, it's all over! South Australia go back-to-back for the first time in their history to claim successive Sheffield Shield titles. You can write the history in red. They broke the drought last year, and when it rains, it pours. One lone South Australian fan runs onto the field in South Australian colours, carrying the flag. And Henry Thornton has gone straight through Fergus O'Neill to bowl him. And after checking the no ball, a slight pause of anxiety met with screams and jubilation from South Australia. They were nowhere in this game. They were behind the 8 ball. They were on the canvas, and they've picked themselves up from the canvas to champions. What a comeback, what a fairy tale win. One of the wins for the ages. They hold on to win by 56 runs in an epic at Junction Oval on day 5. Scenes of jubilation for South Australia. Victoria finished on top. They could not get the job done in the final. They had their moments. They were ahead of the game partway through. And unfortunately for them, they're left to rue. Opportunities missed. Bob Quiney, former Victorian player, 5-time Shield winner. A bitterly disappointing loss for Victoria, but it's history for South Australia.
Oh, look, from a Victorian perspective, absolutely shattered. But from a games perspective, I think we've just witnessed an amazing contest between 2 of the best sides of the season on a wicket that it was a grind wicket, but it produced some really good cricket, and the cream rose to the top. Alex Carey's knock yesterday was absolutely fantastic. And to your point, for South Australia, not only to win this and go back-to-back, we're talking about the one-day win last year, we're talking about the Shield win last year and this year as well. So these guys are going to go down in South Australian folklore as record breakers.
It's a heartbreaking loss for Victoria, who were the clear best team all year, finished on top of the table. And from where South Australia were in this game, they were almost done and dusted. To recap exactly what position they found themselves in, late on day 3, when Jake Lehman fell for just 1, South Australia in their second innings were 5 for 79 and led by just 31 runs. A partnership of 105 yesterday on day 4 between Nathan McAndrew and Alex Carey, who scored a beautiful century, rescued South Australia from the jaws of defeat. They posted 258, they set 196 for victory. And late yesterday, double breakthroughs to remove Pete Hanscom and Marcus Harris gave them a chance this morning. And then quick wickets. We only started play at 10 a.m. local time 56 minutes ago, and they've taken the 5 wickets. It's great scenes for the South Australian faithful and the fans and the friends and family who have travelled, who are right below our commentary position, clapping in the team. And it's opposite scenes for Victoria.
Yeah, and that's, you've got to put yourself out there and want to be in that big game. And unfortunately for Victoria, it's 3 times in I think 6 years now that they've come second. And I think there was so much emphasis on, you know, this was the game. You know, the last 2 that they played, as we welcome Brad Hodge in as the trio, they played 2 in WA and lost, and you get that to the home side, and WA were the better side.
Before we get to Brad Hodge, downstairs with Ned Hall.
Ryan, how does this feel?
Oh, probably won't be able to speak here for a minute, but just unreal, emotional. Give me 1 second here, but what these boys have achieved this year, nothing other than special. So to be able to come over here, obviously play the best team of the season, to be able to beat them on their home patch, behind in the game the whole way. Alex Carey, that's why he's the best in the world. For him to come out and do that yesterday with Nathan McAndrew to give us a chance, we knew if we could get up to, you know, even 100 or 120, just something to bowl at. One thing this group is so good at doing, as we've seen again, is just fighting, and they've done it again. I just can't believe it.
Nathan McAndrew, you mentioned a bit of batting, but he looked half broken sometimes as well. He's stretching constantly. He's got the big strapping on, but clearly he was not going to come out of this match.
No way. No. And obviously, we you know, the sub, all that sort of stuff, I actually went to him, looked him in the eye and said, if you're no good, mate, you can't get through, we're going to have to. He goes, no, I'm right. So I'm not 100%. He said, I'm 99%. So he was happy. So he does that. That's Nathan McAndrew. He's obviously, it's at the end of a long season. I'm sure they had a few sore bodies as well. But, yeah, he just goes and goes and goes, and he keeps producing.
And you mentioned before, you were behind so many times in this match. How many times do you think it might have slipped away from you?
Well, I thought we might have been having a few beers yesterday afternoon at lunchtime, to be honest. Yeah, it's just amazing. I think I said to the boys this morning, take the result out of it. What we've done in this game and this season's just been such an achievement for this group and for this organisation. And it's exactly what we're all about. And one of the things that I wanted to change in the staff, and along with the general manager and the CEO, when we come in, is we want to be an organisation that we play hard. We try and we fight. It's okay to lose, and I said that this morning. I didn't say all that, but I said it basically. We want to fight, and if we walk off the end of the day today's not going to define us. It's the season it has, and they did it. I didn't expect it to happen so quickly, but they just keep doing it.
I'll take you upstairs to the box in a sec for a question, but how does this feel today, winning here in Melbourne? Obviously, very different feeling from last year, but is there almost more satisfaction in this?
Yeah, I think there is. I think I said it coming in. Last year was amazing because we hadn't had one for a while or for a long time, and playing at home, and we saw the scenes at home. It was fantastic, and yeah, it was great. But I think I think we went through last night the stats of winning away from home and in a final. I don't think it's happened for a while. So to be able to come over and do it against Victoria again, it's the South Australia Victoria thing. But we've done it. It's an amazing feeling, and we've got some great support you know, we've got a lot of people here now with friends and family. We had people fly, over this morning for today, whether win, lose, or well, not draw, but we've got some great support, so we're definitely going to enjoy this.
Might just take you up to the box for a second now. If you've got a question, Rob Quiney up there. I'm not sure if Hodge is there as well.
Yeah, I am. Rhino, like, what a performance. A bowler yourself, like, what was the message to your team? You said you were behind the game a fair bit there. What was specifically the bowling units? Did you pry on your old experience and say that, you know, this is how you're going to attack it today?
Yeah, I did, Hodge. I think this morning I got them together after our team chat, and like I have done all year, not just today. You know, it was quite it was a good wicket. Don't get me wrong, it was a good cricket wicket, but it was still quite tough if you hit a length. And you know, obviously being probably a fourth day, we got to know it's the fifth day. We lost a bit of time to rain. That it was still up and down a little bit. It was still nibbling. So it was just more when you think you're getting boring and nothing's happening, don't let your mind go elsewhere other than to bowl the same ball over and over again and build the pressure. And you know, that's what we're so good at. We've got guys that are able to hit that 5-cent piece over and over and over again. And then we have Henry Thornton who can come in and bowl a bit more pace and attack. And, you know, so that was the message this morning. Again, if Ferg or anyone or Southo came out and hit you off a good length, then go back and do it again and just repeat.
Harry, we've got so many questions here, but we have run out of time, mate. Massive congratulations for you, mate. That's such a good achievement for you, mate, to go back-to-back with all the injuries that you noted throughout the year. So all at the ABC, congratulations, mate, and celebrate well.
Thank you, boys. Thank you very much.
Coach of South Australia, Ryan Harris, down there with Ned Hall, back-to-back Sheffield Shield titles. He's got to run away because the ceremony is about to start downstairs. The Sheffield Shield glistening in this Melbourne sun. Let's take you downstairs and take the post-match ceremony.
Big thank you to our head curator here, Kenji Steele, and everyone who's worked on this ground. An amazing pitch for cricket, and we do thank Kenji and the team. Please put your hands together once again for those looking after City Power Centre here at the Junction Oval. For our official presentation, we are joined by Cricket Australia CEO Todd Greenberg. Also joining us, SACA Vice President Dan Harris and SACA Chair Will Rayner. Firstly, let's acknowledge our match officials for today. Their fantastic job, not just today, but throughout the season as well. And we call them forward. Thank you to our umpires, Sam Najoski and Sean Craig. Third umpire, Donovan Kosh. Fourth umpire, Phil Gillespie. And match referee, Kepler Vessels. We're also lucky enough to have our 2025-26 Sheffield Shield Player of the Year with us as well. 496 runs at over 41, as well as taking 23 wickets at just over 25. The presentation is to our 2025-26 Sheffield Shield Player of the Year from South Australia, Liam Scott.
Played a big role, Liam Scott, in this victory for South Australia. Bowled beautifully. A couple of wickets this morning. Sheffield Shield Player of the Year receiving that honour officially.
It is now my pleasure to announce the Player of the Final. He made 17 in the first dig, he made 60 in the second. He took 2 3-fers as well. The Player of the Sheffield Shield Final from South Australia is Nathan McAndrew.
Toiled hard all match, Nathan McAndrew, through injury, through pain. His partnership of 105 with Alex Carey, ultimately the difference, and bowled beautifully as well. Thoroughly deserved player of the final.
Congratulations. What a game of cricket that was. How are you feeling going into this morning?
Yeah, we're pretty confident. Thought the game was obviously in the balance there, but yeah, we knew that if we hit our areas, it was going to make it tough work for them, and there was still a little bit there in the wicket. So, you know, we knew if we played our brand of cricket this morning, we'd be a good chance.
I know it's a team game and team results are important, but just on a personal level, both with bat and ball, some crucial contributions over the last 5 days.
Yeah, I think the bowling group's done incredibly well, and yeah, it was pretty cool to have a first-class seat to watch Kez have a net session out there at times, it looked like. So, yeah, just happy to do whatever I can for the team, and just so happy to get this second title.
and creating a little bit of history for South Australia along the way. It must mean a lot to you and the boys. I know it hasn't probably sunk in just yet, but that's an amazing achievement.
Yeah, unbelievable. Last year was special to have broken a 29-year drought and to go back-to-back and, yeah, sort of show it's no fluke. That's a pretty special feeling.
Fantastic individual performance, but most importantly, part of a winning side. Well done.
Thank you.
Our player of the final, Nathan McAndrew, for runs and wickets. Unfortunately, in every final, there's going to be a runner-up, and it was an amazing season, a record-breaking season for Victoria. But today, they are the runners-up, but we will call forward the captain of Victoria, Will Sutherland, to say a few words. Well, it was an amazing season. Unfortunately, couldn't get it done, but for the neutral, an unbelievable game of cricket over the last 5 days.
Yeah, it was a cracking game of cricket. Yeah, I should acknowledge South Australia first. Just, yeah, that was the hardest Shield cricket game I've ever been a part of, and yeah, massive congratulations to you guys for going back-to-back. Particularly to Kez and Nathan McAndrew, the games you guys played was incredible. So to Rhino, Butter and the rest of the boys, congrats, and yeah, enjoy the celebrations. You thoroughly deserve it.
And to your boys, of course, it's been a huge season. We say there can only be one winner, but you've played some amazing cricket over the last 6-7 months. It's been a huge season for Victorian cricket.
Yeah, no doubt. We even spoke about it. Even if it didn't go away this game, you know, you don't win 7 games in a season by chance, and we know we've got a very strong group. So I think we're building towards something very special over the next few years. So we hope to be here many more times and win a few shields along the way, hopefully.
There's been a lot of people watching online, watching the stream, watching on KO Sport as well, and so many fans coming out to support both Victoria and South Australia. That's what Shield cricket means to everyone here in Australia.
Yeah, definitely. It's been good to see great support, particularly our family and friends. It's awesome to have you guys here supporting us, but also the broader public. It's good to have you know, big crowds at Shield cricket, and hopefully that can continue to build over the next few years in domestic cricket.
No doubt the overriding emotion is one of a bit sadness and an opportunity missed, but there's no doubt some people that you'd like to thank from an amazing season from a Victorian cricket point of view.
Yeah, for sure. Firstly, just from this game, I'd like to thank the umpires and congrats for your selection in this game. Also to the curators of pretty brutal conditions over the first few days, so to Kenji and the crew, well done there. Just Cricket Victoria up the top there in the office, we appreciate everything you guys do and allow us to play cricket and enjoy that. And then just to our group, as I said before, you know, we've worked really hard here, and you know, let's not stop now. We're building something special, I think, over the next few years, so let's keep cracking in and see what we can do.
Always very proud of you. Well done, Will, and a great season.
Cheers, Peter. Thank you.
Big round of applause, Will Sutherland and the Victorian cricket team. And now, of course, with the slightly easier job, the captain of the Sheffield Shield winning side, South Australia, Nathan McSweeney. Congratulations, mate. There were times, no doubt, over the last 5 days you didn't know which speech you'd be doing, but here you are as a back-to-back winning Shield captain. How does it feel?
Yeah, I'm super chuffed of this group. What a great game of cricket, as Will said. The ups and downs. Didn't think, you know, we'd be standing here today at, you know, when Kez and Macca were batting there yesterday. So I just want to say thank you to Cricket Victoria for putting on a fantastic Shield final. As Will said, the groundsmen had their work cut out this week. The umpires, Cricket Vic for, you know, supporting our families and supporters that travelled over here. And, you know, Victoria, they've played fantastic all year. They've been the benchmark. Congratulations on a fantastic year.
Well spoken. Of course, South Australia, not even knowing that you were going to be part of the final until the last day of the Shield season, and then we get into the final, and you just had to work hard. How was the feeling amongst the group coming over here, knowing there's a bit of weather around, but knowing that you had the opportunity to give it absolutely everything over these 5 days?
Yeah, we did it slightly differently this year. You know, we've really used some depth in our squad, and I think it just shows the character of this group. We're great mates off the field, and it showed, you know, today and throughout our games throughout the year that we really had to dig deep, and you know, the ability for us to stay in the game is incredible, and to win 2 in a row with this group is super special, and makes it even better when, yeah, we're all such good mates off the field. So I just couldn't be prouder and luckier to captain such a, yeah, great cricketers and even better blokes.
for the young man to come along after a long season, make 100, a relatively important 100, and then to have Nathan down the other end with a 60-odd and then a couple of wickets as well. Just a couple of individual performances which help you along the way, getting that shield in your hands for a second year in a row.
Yeah, spot on. You know, the boys watching them yesterday, we couldn't move from our places. We were very nervous. You know, that's the moment in the game that we won that, and, you know, definitely is the reason why we're standing up here today. So, Dekez, he's been fantastic. Every time he wears, a baggy green and also the baggy red, he doesn't miss. So we're so lucky to have him. And then, as you said, Nathan McAndrew's been fantastic for us since he's came over. So super lucky, and yeah, really excited for what's to come.
We have the medals here. We have the Sheffield Shield as well. But before we do that, no doubt there's some people that you'd like to thank for another amazing season from Southgate.
Yeah, I'd like to thank our sponsors, West End, for being with us for, I think, 60-odd years. You know, as I said before, Cricket Vic for supporting our supporters, our families for coming over, putting on, you know, a great game of cricket. And, yeah, just Victoria again. As I said, they've been the benchmark all year. They could easily be standing up here today. So well done to you boys, and hopefully some exciting games of cricket to come in the next few years.
It's time to be joined by your teammates and collect our Sheffield Shield medallions. The first medallion is to the captain, Nathan McSweeney. We now call forward his teammates, Henry Hunt, Mackenzie Harvey, Jason Sanger.
First Sheffield Shield win for Mackenzie Harvey. Jason Sanger, part of the back-to-back win, a century in last year's final.
Alex Carey.
Two of them, is that right? Two changes from last year, so Mackenzie Harvey and Henry Thornton from last year. Connor McInerney was
Jake Lehman.
Alex Carey, the century maker, receiving his medal. Jake Lehman didn't quite get going this final, but domestic player of the year and has been a big part of it.
Liam Scott.
Sheffield Shield player of the year and was terrific in the final. A few contributions to the bat, but was terrific with the ball, certainly from this end.
Ben Menenti.
Didn't have to play a massive role, Ben Menenti, but made 28 in the first innings, which proved to be pretty valuable runs at the end of the order. Wasn't caught upon too much with the ball.
Nathan McAndrew.
Player of the final, and for good reason. The 60 he made with the bat, vital alongside Alex Carey, and was terrific with the ball.
Henry Thornton.
Another really good player with the ball for South Australia. Got the final wicket that'll go down in South Australian history. Got the final two.
Jordan Buckingham.
Toiled hard as well. Jordan Buckingham opened up the attack for South Australia from this broadcast end-all match, and he's been a great contributor all season.
Jake Fraser McGurk.
Actually played a fair part in this game. Ended up fielding for
didn't he?
Probably 75% of the game for South Australia due to an injury to Henry Hunt, so thoroughly deserves the medal.
And coach Ryan Harris.
We heard from Ryan Harris before. He said he wants to come back to South Australia and bring titles back to his home state, and he did that. Terrific effort by Ryan Harris as coach.
And now the coach, Ryan, and if Nathan McSweeney can join him, Will and Dan, if you can now present the 2025-26 Sheffield Shield to our champions, back-to-back champions, South Australia.
The first time in their history, the Sheffield Shield title and the shield itself will be raised above the heads of South Australia in successive years. Ryan Harris and Nathan McSweeney, they share a piece of it amongst their teammates. Scenes of jubilation. South Australia are the Sheffield Shield
Ladies and gentlemen, that
for
concludes
25.
our official proceedings. We hope you enjoyed the match. Please travel home.
26. They win and they defeat Victoria by 56 runs. They bowled them out for 139. Victoria needed 196 for victory. This morning, they came into the day 5 for 102, Victoria. Perry and Murphy at the crease. Neither of them had scored. The lead was still 94 runs. Murphy was removed without scoring by Liam Scott, but 6 for 112. The next over Mitch Perry, after hitting a couple of shots, he was trapped LBW by Nathan McAndrew, 7 for 112. Ollie Peake, he made just 4. Liam Scott got him caught behind by Alex Carey, 8 for 120. Will Sutherland, the Victorian captain, he was hoping to mount one last defence and chase the runs down. He made just 2 when Henry Thornton went straight through him. And the final wicket, Fergus O'Neill, who batted beautifully for 60 in Victoria's first innings, he managed just 12. Bowled by Henry Thornton, 10 for 139. Nathan McAndrew, as you heard, player of the match as they continue with the celebrations. Champagne flying. Thoroughly deserved. It is history making. The players out there for South Australia, along with Ryan Harris and everyone amongst them, will be legends in South Australian cricket from here till eternity. So history written in red ink.
Who's going to be given the key, or are they going to have to go to the locksmith and make multiple keys to the city in Adelaide at the moment? Because there's plenty that deserve it. You talk about Ryan Harris, Alex Carey.
Where does Nathan McAndrew's statue go?
Well, so you're building that statue. There you go. I would have built Alex Carey's statue, but that's all right.
Alex Carey's statue would, even given what he did in this game, what he did throughout the Ashes, would be a statue of him keeping up to the stumps with a helmet on. Or a century, given he's made so many of them. We might get some more reaction from Ned Hall in just a moment. Amazing scenes for South Australia, and great to see their friends and family who made the trip obviously over and celebrating with them. Really disappointing for Victoria. It must be tough when you finish as, I mean, they were the best team all year and they didn't get it done. I'll get your thoughts in just a moment. Brad Hodge and Rob Quiney, because I think we may have one of the potential statue recipients one day at the Adelaide Oval, but we have him down there. Alex Carey is with Ned Hall.
Yeah, future statue recipient Alex Carey standing alongside me. Alex, how does this feel to be celebrating it? Different from last year when you did it on home soil, but you've got a fair amount of support standing over the rope by there.
Yeah, we do. It's first question, how's it feel? Feels really good. Yeah, it's I love playing Sheffield Shield cricket. I love this group, and you know, it was we did it a different style this year. Obviously, we're away. We started to get our cricket together at the right time of the year, and we knew how good Victoria have been. So to, I guess, stay really resilient throughout the year, keep rocking up and try and get performances to get us to the final. And then, I guess, stay in the final at times. Victoria are on top. And for this group to find ways to, I guess, nullify a really, really good bowling attack in Scotty Boland and Fergus O'Neill and stay in the game. And then obviously what happened today was really special.
You talk about that and staying in the game. That was obviously a big key for you because at various different times you seemed a long way behind in the match. Yeah,
we speak a lot about the process rather than the outcome and trying to take the scoreboard out of the game and just go to work and whatever happens, happens. And yeah, I thought Nathan McAndrew obviously got the accolades with player of the match, was fantastic. He leads the way with the ball. This was his finest knock for South Australia, and yeah, he was outstanding. Along with everyone, I thought had moments throughout the game. Yeah, so really proud of the lads.
I won't keep you down here too long, but I'll throw you upstairs to the box for a second now. We've got Bobby Quiney, Mitch Turner and Brad Hodge up there.
Kez, well done again, mate. Amazing day for you yesterday, even better day for the state today. I take the game back to the years when we played against each other, and you know, unfortunately you're on the other side for 2 years. Was that brought up, or was that any motivation at any stage coming into this one? Because you'd done the drought 29 years, and then this one was almost like, not a free hit, but there's still a carrot dangled as well, and to continue momentum of how good the squad's going.
Yeah, I think looking back personally, they were Sheffield Shields against a really good Victorian team, and we probably didn't quite, I don't know, have the depth or maybe the belief at that time to win those Shields. Against you guys who are, you know, so experienced at the time. There's probably only myself and Jake Lehman that were in the group, on. So we don't have a lot of baggage thinking about that.
Do you think that's a positive though as well?
Yeah, I do. Look, I'm not getting any younger, Bobby, and
you're looking all right from up here.
There's some I don't know what to say about the youth these days, but they don't really care about the past too much. And they're probably worrying about the TikTok photos to go up after this. So, no, I love playing with the youth, and I think that really, I don't know, shone through a little bit today. They have great belief in their own games. I love those battles against Victoria, and to be honest, they helped me develop my game. I guess John Holland I look back on, who bowling into rough on day 5. You don't really see that in grade cricket, so you've got to learn the sweep shot and learn a method. You got yourself chirping around the bat, and that builds a bit of resilience as well. So I think for me personally, those matches against Victoria, close to 10 years ago, are ones that I'll look back on and be really, I guess, proud to see where we are now. But for a lot of the guys, there's probably not that, I guess, past to look back on.
Yeah, Alex, congratulations, mate. Huge effort. You mentioned John Holland and spin. We haven't seen a lot of spin throughout this year. I want to talk to you or ask you the question, what's the difference between the surfaces at the highest level in Test cricket compared to the Sheffield Shield? Because there's been a lot of talk about the movement, the seam, and clearly your technique stands out above everyone else to succeed at this level. And what is the difference?
Yeah, I think talking about Australian pitches, that is, obviously international wickets overseas are different, but the Australian Test wickets are not too dissimilar. I think when you've got Scott Boland charging in and really ripping the rope, you can see the seam movement that's there. Pat Cummins, Stark with a bit of airspeed. They make the Test wickets look challenging at times. And I think, it's Sheffield Shield cricket's only 4 days, and you don't see too many drop-in wickets really break up and bring those spinners into play late. So, yeah, you're always looking at who's your seam bowlers, who can get a little bit out the surface. And I think we saw this week, as opposed to the game before here, last week, that there was probably a little bit more seam movement between overs 30 and 60 and 70. I thought last week it probably just flattened out a little bit in that period and even spun a little bit more, but a little bit more live grass out here. I thought it was a really good Sheffield Shield wicket. But yeah, in terms of pitches, they're not too dissimilar. They're mainly drop-ins now, and SCG is probably the outlier in all them.
Just 2 questions for you, Alex. Mitch Turner here. Alex Carey joining us on ABC Sport after South Australia have won back-to-back Sheffield Shield titles. Alex, what were you thinking? You're out there in the middle, you're on 11. Jake Lehmann chops on probably one of the worst dismissals he's had. He'll probably admit that. It wasn't a great way to go. You were 5 for 79 at that stage. You were still trailing by a fair bit. You're just in front. What was going through your mind at that stage?
Not too much, to be honest with you. I've tried to treat every ball, pretty similar throughout the summer. And really just, focus on my process. There was obviously times when the field was back and I was pretty happy to take the one because Nathan Nick Andrews' innings at the other end was fantastic. There wasn't pressure on me to do anything different. He was able to absorb a lot of great bowling and continue to score. So we felt pretty happy with that plan. I also want to credit, I guess, Thornton, who came out, and also Buckingham to help me get to triple figures, but more importantly, keep ticking that scoreboard over and get us close to 200. So, in terms of the game of cricket, I think everyone, really chipped in. And as I said before, I'm, just really proud of the lads' efforts.
I love how you said you were happy to take the one. It was ones. They gave you a lot of ones through that innings, and it was probably summed up when you're on 99. You pushed for 2, you got a single, and you're a tiny bit disappointed that you got
it wasn't.
to 100.
It was a fake too.
And then just lastly, real quick, last one to finish, Alex. Scott Boland, I recognise him. He does it for Victoria as well. He comes back, he plays for his state. It's great that the top players are doing that. You do it for South Australia. You don't have to come back and do this. You've probably earned some time off given the busy summer you already have. I know the passion for cricket in South Australia is at an all-time high, but why do you do it? Why do you come back and represent South Australia? Why does this mean so much to you? You get as much out of a South Australian win as you do an Australian win.
Oh, I just love playing cricket, to be honest. It's I guess I look back on my journey and, I would have given anything to play for South Australia. And then you want to represent your country when you get to this level. So, look, I love the guys. I love, the support staff. It's a lot of fun. So when I do come back and play, it doesn't feel like I'm coming back to play. I'm coming back to do my job, but I'll be playing cricket anyway.
Alex, it was so nice. You had to do it twice. Well done. Back-to-back Sheffield Shield titles and centuries as well. Congratulations.
Thank you. Cheers.
Alex Carey there, century maker, back-to-back Sheffield Shield winner. Made a century last year as well. Became just the second player to make centuries in consecutive
We're
Sheffield
just
Shield finals.
seeing some chinks in the armour, aren't
Oh,
we?
here we
The
go, yeah.
nice guy chinks are just starting to fade a little bit. We're all talking about that he really wanted to come back for 2, but his Hollywood acting is spot on.
I liked that.
And it was great that he could turn around and go, no, that was just for show. I desperately wanted the 100, so good on him.
He pushed one to deep mid off the ball before and probably thought, what am I doing?
What
What am I doing stuck here on 99?
Well, for those joining,
get the accolade, raise the bat.
for those who missed it, the field was spread for a lot of Alex Carey's innings, trying to get him off strike. He was hitting the ball out to the deep. He wouldn't take the run. He was protecting his end towards the back end of his innings. He was taking them early, but right at the end when the genuine tail was with him, he was hitting it. He was staying on strike. He was waiting for the 4th ball, 5th ball to try and get that run. He got to 99 and we thought, as you said, Hodge, he pushed one out to the deep and he didn't move. And he got the easiest single someone on 99 has ever been given and he didn't take it. The next ball, he knocked one out into the offside, and
they've got some T-shirts made up here too. This is fantastic. I'm not sure how many they've got. The batting coach Stephen Stubbings has got something that they've made up. I don't know whether they've got 1 or 2 when they're sharing it around for some photos, but it's almost like the NBA when they get their hat and their T-shirt and they carry on. That must mean that they've got a lot of T-shirts and hats to throw out for the team that doesn't win.
Maybe, who knows? Yeah, it gets thrown out.
I'm trying to have a look at the.
You've thrown all your kit out, haven't you?
I'm trying to find the T-shirt.
I wouldn't know where it is, Bobby, actually.
Where is it?
What I want to do, just pick up on, is Alex Carey, who, like the strategy around representing your country is pretty intense. He's basically alluded there that the strategy that Victoria employed this time yesterday was the strategy which just opened the game up for them. And I think that when the dust settles, the Victorian unit will really dissect whether that was a strategy which they should have used and whether they go forward with it as well. Because he just said, I just canted my way. Mate, I didn't have to change my game. It was simple process.
You almost said he didn't have to do anything. He left it to McAndrew.
Absolutely nothing.
Can I just say, though, that I think the trust in McAndrew just shows how well they know each other within the group and how much, they do trust each other, because McAndrew's numbers this season weren't great. He'd done really well the previous 2 seasons. For him to sit there and go, righto, McAndrew, you can face 5 balls from Scotty Boland. That's a fair bit, because there's some top order batters that couldn't face 5 balls.
I'd be doing the same, Bobby. I wouldn't want to face Scotty either. I'd get up the other end. I'd be like, you'd be right, mate. You've got a good technique.
You've got
Just get in behind it. It's not doing much. It's okay.
2 ways of looking at that. Bobby said, how's the confidence in giving his partner the strike? And Hodgie's gone, how's the ability to go, I don't want to face it, get me out the other end.
I'd use the reverse psychology. You got good technique.
No, you've got this. You've got this. This is why you made so many runs, mate.
I'll look after Liam Scott for you.
Thoughts of Brad Hodge and Rob Quiney here on ABC Sport after South Australia. They locked up back-to-back Sheffield Shield titles for the first time in their history. They bowled Victoria out for 139. Victoria needed 196 in total to win. Worth noting that Adam Crosswaite wandered into the box after winning his grand final yesterday, which is a bigger comeback story. Not the actual game, but the fact that he's made it here on a Monday morning after winning a grand final is probably a bigger comeback story.
The question is, why is he here?
Yeah, it's questionable.
Back-to-back as well for the Saints.
Shades are on now. He's feeling dusty. Congratulations, Adam Crosswaite, for winning your club cricket grand final, Premier Cricket grand final.
Just come in to justify the crap shot that he played when he spooned
Jeez, you sprayed him, didn't you?
Crappy short wonder point.
I wasn't going to say anything about it in the group chat, but Hodgie was pretty quick to pull him up on it. Adam Crosswaite's got the mic. Crossy, firstly, congratulations.
Thank you, mate. Thank you.
A flag and a title for your boys. Well done.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. We had a good day, good weekend, and a good night. But, much better morning this morning for the Sackers. This has been awesome. And, I think this one's going to really hurt Victoria.
You were here, Crossy, quickly. You were here, obviously, early part. We didn't play after lunch on day 1. It completely rained. The weather on day 2 was here and there, but we got a bit of play in. The game had so many twists and turns and ups and downs, but you would have been, as you were playing, you'd have been kind of keeping an eye on the score, what's happening, and you must be shocked to sit here now in the first session of day 5. South Australia have won, given some of the scores you would have seen when you were looking at that phone and that score.
Yeah, I think when you look back at this game, the way they were just able to hang in the game and get something to bowl at South Australia, and the Victorians losing those 2 key wickets late last night, Harris and Hanscom just really hurt. And this morning, South Australia were on point and just really ripped the Sheffield Shield away from the Vics. And, yeah, deserved winners in the end after a big year from Victoria, 7 wins and a home final. And, yeah, it all feels like it got ripped away in the last sort of 50 minutes of the season.
Did Crossy's name get thrown up into the list of the Victorian South Australian players?
It did, I think. I think you did.
No.
I think you might have thrown
No,
it
no,
in there.
I don't think I did. I left when then you and Kelly. I left the list.
We were.
So
we got to
he's
Adam.
happy today.
We
It
got
was
to
a
Adam
win-win.
Crossway, but did you play a first-class game for South Australia?
Yeah,
Okay, wasn't 100% sure.
Yeah, played
I knew
a
you
year.
played the white ball game.
We won the one-day comp with the Sackers in
Against
11-12. Yep.
Yep, and you cheated in the 2007-8 T20 final.
The Whackers are still
I just
upset
had
at
to
the
get
summer.
one more
One
in.
more.
The fans are, I guess, mostly friends and family of the South Australian cricketing crew, the players, the support crew, the coaches. They're all milling below on the field here at Junction Oval, just going through celebrations and I guess starting the even bigger celebrations, which are getting underway as well. The shirt that was being worn, a couple of them going around, is just back-to-back Sheffield Shield winners. So that is the one that is being worn. But I'll recap. I'll go back through the match for people who are listening to us now that want to get caught up with kind of how it played out. I'll go back through the notes where it all started, because Will Sutherland, captain of South Australia, they won the toss and they bowled first. That was the first decision. It was a very rainy day, cloudy. They sent South Australia in on Thursday. Mackenzie Harvey was the first to fall. I'll run through the innings in order. We got to lunch. We lost 3 wickets in the first session on day one when South Australia were batting. Harvey, Hunt and Sanger all gone. They were 3 for 21 heading into that lunch break. They got to lunch 3 for 55. McSweeney and Carey at the crease. Play was called off after that. We did not get back on. Play was called off just past 1 p.m. and didn't get back on for the rest of the day. Play was officially cancelled at 4:30 in the afternoon. Came back for day 2. Early starts. We started at 10 o'clock local time every day after that. South Australia went about their innings. Wasn't convincing at all. The first innings, they struggled, but they managed to scrape their way to 198 thanks to 52 from the captain, Nathan McSweeney. Liam Scott chipping in with 37, Alex Carey 26, and Ben Menenzi a valuable 28. For Victoria, Will Sutherland took 4 for 54 in the first innings. O'Neill 3 for 30. Boland 2 for 63. Sam Elliott 1 for 36. In reply, Victoria, they made 261 contributions across the board. A lot of starts. The main player, though, who led them was Fergus O'Neill, of all people, 64 from 136 balls. Marcus Harris with a nice 40 as well. And then starts to Will Sutherland with 34, 29 for Campbell Callaway, and an incredibly quick fire, 20 off 10 balls, featuring 2 sixes and 1 4 from Sam Harper, opening the batting, which you normally see right at the end of an innings. He did it at the top. 3 wickets for Nathan McAndrew in that innings, 3 for 71. Henry Thornton took 3 for 58. Scott 2 for 32. Buckingham 2 for 55. South Australia then had to, I guess, cut into that deficit, trailing in that second innings by, let me double check my notes exactly what they were trailing by as we get to it. They commenced their innings trailing by 63 runs. South Australia, Mackenzie Harvey and Henry Hunt fell early. They found themselves in all sorts of trouble in response. They were just 2 for 10, 3 for 35 when Nathan McSweeney fell. The big partnership came. They were 5 for 79 when Jake Lehman fell late on day 3. 5 for 79. Carey at the crease. He was joined eventually at the crease by Nathan McAndrew, who came out and they began to rescue that innings on day 4. They turned that lead into 196 thanks to a century partnership between the two and an individual century to Alex Carey, 103 for him. Nathan McAndrew with 60. Questionable tactics by the Victorians and how long they persisted with giving Alex Carey singles to get Nathan McAndrew on strike. But it was 196. That was the target for Victoria. They went in late yesterday. They lost 5 wickets before the end of play. They were actually cruising along. They were 3 for 102 in the 36th over with Hanscom and Harris at the crease. They've been out there a while. They were set. And then bang, bang, they lost 2 wickets in the space of 2 overs. Hanscom at 28, Harris for 35. Thornton and Scott got the breakthroughs. They went to stumps at 5 for 102. The lead was still 94 runs for South Australia. And then this morning, that was the equation. 5 wickets for SA, 94 runs for Victoria. The equation was perfectly balanced with Murphy and Perry at the crease. Perry played a few shots for his 9. Murphy went very early, and the wickets just continued to fall. Ollie Peake pushed down the order with the night watchman up there. He made just 4. Will Sutherland, he was really the last hope for Victoria. He managed just 2, and then Fergus O'Neill, the final wicket to fall, making just 12, all out for 139. A remarkable way to finish. We've got about 4 or 5 minutes left here on ABC Sport. Rob Quiney, Brad Hodge, Adam Crosswaite. In terms of finals, though, when you strip it all back, stand away, and we look back on this, got to day 5 in the first session. Both teams were well and truly in the hunt.
In the
Henry hunt, and we had a cracking finish.
That was a proper arm wrestle, that's for sure. Really good, tough cricket, tough final. Some controversy in there with a sub halfway in the game. Some brilliant tactical play, some questionable techniques, some great bowling efforts. And all in all, I'm a little bit surprised and shocked actually today. I thought that Victoria had this second innings covered, but not to be. The relentless pressure that Ryan Harris talked about, the never say die attitude from South Australian group, and that showed today.
100% it showed, Dodge. Like they were a team on a mission, and it was someone mentioned to me out in the middle that the difference between the two teams in warm-up today was the Sackers have come here to play and fight hard here, and it seemed like the Victorians were sort of maybe going through the motions a little bit. You can't read too much into a warm-up, or can you? So
yeah, you can. I mean, you know what it's like these days, Bobby. You want to take as much pressure off the young players as you can, so you give them that sort of let's go out and kick a volleyball around and have some fun and enjoy it. But sooner or later, you've got to knuckle down and make sure that as soon as you cross that line, it's game on. And I'm sure it was. I'm not questioning whether they weren't here, but I'm sure the Victorians must have thought this is going to be hard work. We need to switch on here. But I'm questioning the double night watchman as well.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that's a tactic.
Who would you have sent in? Perry, you got Perry Murphy. Who would you have sent in other than one of those? Who would have been the one?
Well, I don't think as a batter you should get the luxury of a double night watchman. Like one can work, and if that doesn't fail, if that fails, then in you go.
Yeah.
And it would have been Ollie Peake. So Ollie Peake would have been the person that gone in.
Yep. I think the reasoning, wasn't it, was that if there's a way that those two could eke out another 8 or 10 overs, that batting becomes a little bit easier. And I think that was the theory around both sides. I think admitted that once the air comes out of the ball, then it doesn't get easy to score, it just gets easier to stay in and to provide that impetus for Peake, Sutherland and O'Neill. So, but again, I don't see double.
That's the theory, but night watchers never score. They always just hang time. So the scoreboard actually never goes forward.
Well, Mitch Perry can, but I would have liked.
Mitch Perry actually batted quite well this morning before he got out.
I joked last night when it was the last ball of the game last night. I said, Todd Murphy, just team up, just have a free hit.
Yeah.
If he gets a 4, happy days. If he gets out, he's done his job, because you don't need then another 2 to start the day, do you?
Well, he just
should he have done that
got
this
out
morning?
Blocking. Yeah, he
should
got
have just
out.
had a hit and said, look, maybe I'll get 15.
It really almost looked like the South Australians went out today to win that game, and the Victorians looked stuck. To me today, in an era of cricket, the Victorians were timid, even after the first over where they get some runs away and going, but the Vics are stuck on the crease, and that South Australian bowling lineup just really hammered the stumps, and just they went and won the game, and Victoria, for mine, were stuck in quicksand.
I don't know, Bobby. Yeah. Sorry, Crossy, I sort of differ on that. I thought after the first over, when McAndrew let go 10 runs...
Yeah, Perry got to 9 quickly.
That this is... they're not believing they can win. And then as soon as there was a couple of wickets, which were tail-enders, then that gave them the belief. And you could see the energy and you could see it build. And my question is that if you have a real quality batter out there, then that momentum doesn't get put into the game.
Can I ask you a question? For all three of you, really, I think all of us are seeing what happened yesterday, and probably think that the partnership, whether it was due to the field or batting or both. Are we talking about that and the 2 wickets last night as the 2 crucial moments that dictated this game?
In theory, yes. Victoria had a stranglehold on the game.
Yeah, they had it 1, 2 or 3 times.
2 wickets away from chasing 55 runs. We were going to have lunch and a beer yesterday, Bobby, and now we're here on Monday trying to get some lunch from the CV to see if it shows up in time.
I don't think they're bringing it in today. Might be an apple or 2.
It will be. It'll be one that, as a still a young captain, Will Sutherland, he'll look back on that. He'll take some lessons. He'll lean on the people around him. He'll have those conversations with the senior people at Victoria, as well as teammates and other people that he leans on. And maybe they would have done things differently, but it takes a team to win a game, and it takes a team to lose a game, and they're all certainly involved on both sides.
At least we got a premiership player in here.
We have a premiership player here. They give out medals today for 47. Okay.
That's it. We got Mad Monday to get to, Bobby, I think.
It's been wonderful to have all of your company. Thanks to Lee, who's been pushing all the buttons, getting us to air. Thanks to Ned Hall, everyone else supported. Kelly Applebee earlier in the match. Brad Hodge, Adam Crosswaite, Bobby Quiney, South Australia.
What up, Mitch?
They are Sheffield Shield champions. They go back-to-back for the first time in their history. They defeat Victoria.
ABC Sport Digital Radio, your home of basketball.
Get your footy fix with ABC AFL Daily Podcast. Corbin Middlemass and Ben Cameron are joined by a cast of AFL legends.